All right, here's your homework on adding and subtracting radicals. And the key to adding or subtracting is they have to have like radicals to be added. So if they don't share the same radical, you can't add or subtract the number in front. So right now, it doesn't appear they're like radicals, but I have to simplify that first. So the cube root of 3 is prime, but the second one can be written simpler. So the cube root, what perfect cube goes into 192? And that's 64 times 3. So the cube root of 64, what number 3 times itself is 4, times 2 is 8. And then what's left over is the cube root of 3. Now, do you see how the radicals match? And then you just add the big numbers in front, the coefficients. So 7 plus 8, that's 15, and the cube root of 3. Number 2, only can add like radicals. So right now, anything that's not prime, I'm going to write first differently. So root 28 is 4 times 7. So the square root of 4 is 2, so it's 2 root 7. 180, to simplify it, the biggest perfect square that goes into it evenly is 36. And it's 36 times 5. So the square root of 36 is 6 times 6 is 36 root 5. Now, only the like radical. So 10 take away 2 is 8. But root 5 and root 7 can't be combined together, so you can only put them beside each other. Fourth root of 48. So that's 16 times 3. The square root of 90. That is, what is that? 9 times 10. Just that little brain fart. 9 times 10. There it is. And the last one's prime. So the cube, fourth root of 16 is 2 times 8 is 16, and the fourth root of 3. This one, the square root of 9 is 3 times 5 is negative 15, and you're left with the square root of 10. And then we have 9 and the fourth root of 3. So do you see how these two radicals match? So you can add those numbers. 16 plus 9 is 25, and the fourth root of 3. And then 15 and the root 10 is unlike, so it can only go beside each other. How about with variables? So cube root, let's rewrite this. So what cube root? That would be 8 times 4. X cubed is fine because 3 goes into it evenly. Y to the fourth would be written as y cubed and then another y. Let's change this one while we're at it. Well, the last one's actually prime, so there's not much I can't simplify it at all. But let's simplify the first one. So the cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 times 5 is 10. 3 divided by 3 is 1x, and 3 divided by 3 is 1y. And then what's left over? That would be 4 and a y. Now these have to match exactly the radical part, and they do. Both are the cube root of 4y. So then I can subtract like terms. So 10xy, subtract 3xy, that would be 7xy, and the cube root of 4y. Number 5, so 15 root 2 is prime. 20 can be written as 4 times 5. So the square root of 4 is 2 times 2 in front is 4 root 5. These are not like terms. Oh, I'm multiplying. Ha! I'm not. I look like I was subtracting, but there's a dot in front. So I'm multiplying. Let's do this again, and let's multiply it. So 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. And then we have 2 times 20, which is 40. So 40 can be written as 4 times 10. And then the square root of 4 is 2 times the 30 in front. So it's negative 60 root 10. I can get there. All right, again, it's multiplying silliness. So as long as they're the same radical, you can multiply the insides together. So 4 times 7 is 28, and then multiply the insides together, and you get negative 9 times 48. Now, it might be helpful actually to break it down in a way that may help you find the cube root easier. So instead of multiplying them together, I'm trying to find a number 3 times itself that would help me here. So negative 9 times 48, what number is it? 216, so that's what, 5, 6. I'll just continue through. So negative 9 times 48 is negative 432. And that's what cube root would simplify that is negative 216 and 2. And then we have to do the cube root of negative 216, which is negative 6. And then multiply that times 28. So that's where negative 168 comes from. So the cube root of negative 216 is negative 6 times 28. All right, number 7. So 3 times 10 is 30. 18 times 4 is 72. And then add the exponents when you multiply. That's 16. 72 can be written as, could be 9 times 8, but the better number is 36 times 2. You try to find the biggest perfect square that goes into it evenly. So the square root of 36 is 6, times 30 is 180. The square root of w to the 16 divided by 2, so it's w to the 8th, and what's left over is root 2. The fourth root of 8 is prime, and the fourth root, but we got to multiply the insides together. So because they're like radicals, so 8 times 10 is 80. Add the exponents, a to the 5. Add the exponents, b to the 8. So the fourth root of 80, the number that it goes in is 16 times 5. I need to write that as a to the 4 times a, so that 4 goes in evenly, and b to the 8 is fine because 4 goes into 8 evenly. So the fourth root of 16 is 2. A to the 4th divided by 4 is just a, and 8 divided by 4 is b squared. And then what's left over that I can't take the fourth root of is 5 and a. Number 9. Distribute. So 2 times this, 3 times 27 is the square root of 81. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, and 3 times 6 is the square root of 18. Square root of 81 is 9, so 9 times 2 is 18. 18 can be written as 9 times 2. So the square root of 9 is 3, times 16 is 48, root 2. Done. This you're going to have to FOIL. I'm okay. It's definitely not a simple FOIL, so it's okay to draw a box if that's what you're comfortable with, or first, outer, inner, last. So we have 5 root 5 minus 2 root 5, subtract 1. So start with this. So root 5 times root 5 is 5, times 5 is 25. Negative 2 and root 5 are unlike. They go beside each other. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5 root 5. And then a negative times a negative is plus 2. So put it all together. 25 plus 2 is 27. And these are like radicals. So negative 5 and negative 2 make negative 7 root 5. Again here, FOIL. Now this is like a difference of squares, but you'll see that soon. 10 times 10 is 100. Here's 30 root 7, and down here is negative 30 root 7. So they're going to cross out. Now negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Root 7 times root 7 is 7. So it's 7 times negative 9. So that's where the negative 63 comes from. And then 100 take away 63 is 37. All right, now last one, number 12. When you're squaring, you're foiling. So again, I'm going to set this up to FOIL. 3 minus 2 root k. Here the middle terms will not cross out. So I just write them twice. Oops, there we go. And then be careful when I multiply. So that's 9. This is negative 6 root k. Negative 6 root k. And this is root k times root k, which is k. And negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. So altogether it's negative 4k. So just combine like terms. So I have 9. I have negative 6 and negative 6, which is negative 12 root k, and then negative 4k. Notice k and root k are not like terms, so they can only go beside each other. Oh, wait a second. A negative times a negative is plus, so this should be a plus. Good job doing your homework. Mr. G Math, over now.